Welcome to Summon Your Superhuman. I'm your host, Ria Mestiza, and today, it being Equinox, happy Equinox, and today we're going to talk about what is Equinox? What is it all about? Where did it come from? Because I had a lot of questions, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you too have a lot of questions. So I want to dive in as deep as you want to go with me on this. So first, let's talk about, from a historical perspective, the equinox is a significant astronomical event that has been observed and celebrated by various cultures for millennia. The term equinox comes from the Latin words equus, equal, and nox, night, signifying the 2 points in the year when day and night are approximately equal in length. There are 2 equinoxes each year. The vernal equinox. This marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere, which is around March 2021, and the autumnal equinox, which marks the beginning of autumn in the northern hemisphere around September 22-23. I'll speak about the relevance and importance of the southern hemisphere after, but that's the northern hemisphere days. You just have to flip it over, and it's the opposite for south. So in the ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians, the Mayans, and ancient Greeks, they built monuments and structures aligned with the equinoxes. For instance, the Great Sphinx and the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt are thought to be orientated towards the equinox. The Mayan pyramid in Chichen Itza, known as El Castillo, famously displays a serpent-like shadow during sunset on the equinoxes. And first, I want to apologize for any poor pronunciation I make about any of these. I'll do my best, but I apologize in advance. From a spiritual perspective, the equinoxes are often seen as times of balance and reflection. Many spiritual traditions and belief systems view these periods as opportunities for personal growth and transformation. The following are some of the key spiritual themes associated with the equinox. Balance is the equal length of day and night that symbolizes balance and harmony. It's a time to reflect on the balance in your life, relationships, and pursuits. Renewal and rebirth. The vernal equinox, in particular, is associated with new beginnings, growth, and renewal, mirroring the natural rebirth and blooming of the spring season. Harvest and gratitude. The autumnal equinox marks the time of harvest, a moment to give thanks for the fruits of the earth and your personal achievements. It's a period for reflection and preparing for the coming winter. Spiritual practices. Many people perform rituals, meditations, and ceremonies to align with the changing energies of the equinox, seeking harmony and enlightenment. Embracing the equinox as a time of reflection and alignment with natural cycles can be deeply enriching. Whether you view it through a historical lens or a spiritual one, the equinox holds a special place in our collective human experience. Now let's go a little deeper. The equinox is celebrated with various traditions and rituals across different cultures, and its significance in the southern hemisphere is just as important. So I want to speak about some of the southern practices and their meanings. In the ancient and cultural celebrations, in Japan, for example, the equinoxes are marked by the public holidays of Shunbun no Hi in spring and Shubun no Hi in autumn. These days are dedicated to paying respects to ancestors, spending time with family, and tending to ancestral graves. In Iran, the new Persian New Year, Nowruz, coincides with the vernal equinox and symbolizes renewal and rebirth. It's celebrated with rituals such as cleaning homes, wearing new clothes, and visiting friends and family. Mesoamerica. The ancient Mayans, I'm laughing because as an Aussie, I want to say Mayans, anyway. The ancient Mayans celebrated the equinox with festivals and rituals at pyramids like El Castillo and Chichen Itza, where the play of sunlight creates the illusion of a serpent descending the pyramid. Modern spiritual practices, there are balance rituals, where many people light candles and meditate to honor the balance of light and dark. This can symbolize inner harmony and the balancing of one's life. Nature walks and outdoor activities. Embracing the natural world, people might go for hikes, plant gardens, or participate in outdoor yoga. Then there's harvest festivals. In places celebrating the autumnal equinox, activities might include harvesting crops, sharing meals, and giving thanks to the bounty of the earth. Personal reflection. Journaling or creating vision boards can help individuals align their goals with the new season, reflecting on what they wish to grow or harvest in their lives. In the southern hemisphere, the equinoxes also herald significant seasonal changes, but their timing and associated festivals differ from those in the northern hemisphere. So the vernal equinox, which is now, or depending when you're listening to this, September 22nd, 23rd, and that's celebrated with spring festivals, so marking the beginning of spring. This equinox signifies rebirth and renewal. Countries in the southern hemisphere celebrate this time with flower festivals, planting seeds, and celebrating the end of colder days. Then there are indigenous traditions. Various indigenous communities might have specific ceremonies and traditions to honor the new growth and life that spring brings. The autumnal equinox, which is around March 2021st, that's the autumn harvest celebrations. So similar to harvest festivals in the north, those in the south give thanks for the bounty of the earth, perhaps with feasts and communal gatherings. Preparation for winter. This period involves preparing for the colder months. Rituals may include preserving food, fortifying homes, and engaging in community bonding for the winter ahead. The equinoxes serve as a powerful reminder of the Earth's cycles and our place within them. Whether in the northern or southern hemisphere, these times offer a chance for reflection, celebration, and connection with nature and community. In Australia, with its rich tapestry of cultures and traditions, it has a variety of ceremonies and practices tied to the equinox. While the equinox might not hold a central role in mainstream Australian culture, as it does in some other parts of the world, there are still notable practices and ceremonies, especially among Indigenous communities and those who follow specific spiritual traditions. In the Indigenous Australian practices, being that Australia is a home to a diverse array of Indigenous cultures, each with its own unique relationship to the land and seasons. While specific equinox ceremonies may not be universally documented, Indigenous Australians have long observed natural cycles and seasonal changes, often aligning their practices with the rhythms of the earth. So there are seasonal indicators. Where the Indigenous groups recognise distinct seasons that differ from the European four-season model. The equinox can mark transitions between these seasons, which are observed through changes in flora, fauna, and weather patterns. Then there are ceremonies and storytelling. So Indigenous communities often focus on the land, ancestral spirits, and seasonal changes. Storytelling, art, dance, and music are used to pass down knowledge about the environment and seasonal cycles. Then there's the connection to the land. Practices such as controlled burning, fire stick farming, are timed with seasonal changes to manage the landscape sustainably, a practice deeply connected to Indigenous ecological knowledge. Then there are modern and New Age practices. In addition to the Indigenous traditions, various modern and New Age spiritual communities in Australia celebrate the equinox with their own unique practices. 1. Community gatherings. Some spiritual groups and communities come together for meditations, ceremonies, or festivals to celebrate the balance of day and night. These gatherings might include drumming, chanting, and dancing around bonfires. 2. Nature retreats. Many people take the equinox as an opportunity to reconnect with nature. Retreats and workshops focusing on mindfulness, yoga, and wellness often align their activities with the equinox. Garden and environmental work. In line with the themes of renewal and balance, community gardens and environmental groups may hold planting days or cleanup events around the equinox, symbolizing new growth and care for the planet. Festivals and public events. While not universally tied to the equinox, certain public festivals and events in Australia may coincide with this period and embody similar themes of renewal and balance. The Bunurru and Jiran, these are two of the 6 seasons recognised by the Noongar people of southwestern Australia. While not directly aligned with the equinox, they represent transitional periods that are celebrated and observed with community activities and reflections on the changes in nature. There are also harvest festivals. In rural areas, harvest festivals that fall around the autumnal equinox celebrate the gathering of crops and the onset of cooler weather. These festivals often feature local produce, crafts, and community activities. Australia's diverse cultural landscape means that the equinox can be celebrated in various ways, depending on personal, community, or cultural beliefs, whether through Indigenous practices deeply connected to the land or modern spiritual gatherings focused on balance and renewal, the equinox offers Australians a moment to reflect on the changing seasons and their relationship to the natural world. Astronomical aspects. So there is a celestial alignment. The equinoxes occur due to the tilt of the Earth's axis. Astronomical aspects. Celestial alignment. Equinoxes occur due to the tilt of the Earth's axis. The Earth's axis is tilted at approximately 23.5 degrees relative to its orbit around the Sun. During equinoxes, the tilt is such that the Sun is directly above the equator, leading to nearly equal day and night across the globe. Sunrise and sunset. On the day of the equinox, the sun rises exactly in the east and sets exactly in the west. This alignment makes it a perfect day for observing precise solar movements. Then we have the equinox. The actual day when day and night are exactly equal is called an equinox. This can occur a few days before or after the equinox due to atmospheric refraction, which bends the sunlight and extends daylight. Cultural significance. 1. The global celebrations. The Mabon in modern pagan traditions. The autumnal equinox is celebrated as Mabon. It is a celebration of the second harvest and a time to give thanks for the abundance received. Feasts, rituals, and gatherings often mark this occasion. Harvest moon. The full moon closest to the autumnal equinox is known as the harvest moon. In agricultural communities, this moon provided extra light to work in the fields late in the night, gathering the crops. 2. Architectural marvels. The Stonehenge. So this ancient monument in England is famously aligned with the solstices, but it is also thought to have been used to observe the equinoxes. Many people still gather at the Stonehenge during the equinoxes to watch the sunrise. Then there's the Canty of Loughcrew in Ireland. This prehistoric passage tomb features an alignment with the rising sun during the equinoxes. The sunlight illuminates the carved stones inside the tomb, creating a breathtaking spectacle. Scientific observations. So one of the scientific observations there are is that it is used for studying climate patterns. Scientists and meteorologists study equinoxes to understand climate patterns and their changes over time. The equinoxes are key markers in the Earth's orbit that help in tracking seasonal shifts and their impact on weather. They also observe migration patterns, animal migrations specifically. Many animal species start their migrations around the times of the equinoxes. For example, the birds migrate between feeding and breeding grounds as the seasons change, oftentimes with the lengthening of shortening of days. Personal and psychological impact. 1. Health and well-being. The equinox can mark a shift in our exposure to sunlight, impacting vitamin D levels. With longer daylight hours, people can benefit from increased outdoor activities, boosting their mood and overall well-being. I definitely think that SADS is a real thing. Circadian rhythms. The equinox, with its equal day and night, can have a balancing effect on our circadian rhythms. This can help reset sleep patterns disrupted by shorter or longer days. Goal setting and reflection. Many people use the equinoxes as natural points for goal setting and personal reflection. The balance of day and night provides a metaphor for finding balance in life and setting intentions for the coming months. So what modern celebrations are there? There's educational initiatives, where many schools and educational institutions use the equinox as an opportunity to teach about astronomy, seasons, and cultural traditions, fostering a greater understanding of our planet and cultures. The equinox is indeed a rich tapestry of scientific, cultural, and spiritual significance, offering a unique opportunity to connect with the rhythms of the Earth and the cosmos. I wanted to dive into the deeper ancient observations, which cultures are recognized as being the earliest discoverers or first to talk about the equinox. Even though the equinox has been observed and documented by various ancient civilizations, pinpointing exactly who was the first to talk about it is challenging due to the long history of human observation of the sky. The Babylonians, who lived in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, were among the first to develop a systematic way of observing celestial movements. They created the zodiac and were able to predict solstices and equinoxes with considerable accuracy around the first millennium BCE. Their astronomical knowledge greatly influenced later Greek and Hellenistic astronomy. Ancient Egyptians. The ancient Egyptians also had an advanced understanding of celestial events, and used observations of the sun and stars to align their monuments. They may not have termed it equinox, but their architectural alignments, such as those of the Great Sphinx and the pyramids, reflect an awareness of solar patterns. The ancient Greeks. The term equinox itself comes from an ancient Greek civilization. The Greek mathematician and astronomer Hipparchus, circa 190 to 120 BCE, made significant contributions to our understanding of the equinoxes. He calculated the length of the year based on the equinoxes and discovered the phenomenon of precession, which is the gradual shift in the orientation of the Earth's axis that affects the timing of the equinoxes over long periods. In the historical texts, the Greek astronomers Eudoxus of Cnidus, circa 390 to 337 BCE, an earlier Greek astronomer, Eudoxus, had also studied celestial motions, which likely included equinoxes. Although his works have not survived, they were documented and referenced by later scholars. Ptolemy, circa 100 to 170 CE, the Greco-Roman scholar, Ptolemy authored the Amalgast, a critical astronomical text that included comprehensive treatments of equinoxes and celestial events. Ptolemy's work synthesized and expanded upon the knowledge from Greek and Babylonian astronomers. Other ancient cultures, like Chinese astronomy, the ancient Chinese had their own sophisticated system for observing the sky and documenting celestial events, including solstices and equinoxes. Texts such as the Shu Jing, the Book of Documents, indicate that equinoxes were noted and used to organize the agricultural calendar. The Mayan astronomy, the Mayan civilization of Mesoamerica, had detailed methods for measuring time and observing celestial events. The equinoxes were critical to their calendar systems and were marked by architectural alignments, such as those as the Chichen Itza. Okay, so in conclusion, while it's difficult to point to one single individual or culture that first talked about the equinox, it is clear that many ancient civilizations independently observed and recorded this phenomenon. The collaborative advancement of astronomical knowledge through different cultures has greatly enriched our understanding of equinoxes. It's truly incredible to think how this natural balance of day and night has been a source of wonder and significance for so many cultures through history. From ancient Babylonians and Egyptians to modern spiritual practices, the equinox connects us all in a shared experience of our planet's rhythms. So if you've made it this far, congratulations. You're as inquisitive as I am about the topic. I couldn't help myself but go deeper and deeper on the subject, and I hope you found it informative today. I also wanted to make special mention about its relevance here in Australia, as it's not commonly spoken about, like the same as it is in other parts of the world, although the subject is gaining interest. If you enjoyed today, please like, subscribe, and share this with anyone else you think should know about the rich history of the equinox. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. Until next time, strengthen your mind, body, and soul muscles, superhuman, and stay amazing.